football story, because this lady is crafting narratives that people believe. It doesn't need to be true what she's saying. If what GMs and everybody believes, the market believes, yes, it doesn't need to be true.
And then people how far are we connecting? People were connecting the dots going back about 5 years, I believe.
Correct.
Even when she was working for another company.
I mean, when he was fired, she's out there doing PR for him, talking about maybe he's not getting a job because he's too big. Guys, I'm not making this up. Go back and listen. Right. Go fact check it. Go ask Gemini. Go ask ChatGPT. I told you all we'd be back again. It's Matt Rogers and OJ Spivey on Honorable Mention Philly Sports. OJ, let's go ahead and just jump into it and talk about Eagles training camp. After last season being discussed as potential QB2, Tanner McKee is now maybe losing his grip. He was last year talked about his QB1. He's losing his grip on QB2. Confused myself already there. Yeah. He's losing it to Andy Dalton based on camp reports. What are you thinking about that whole situation?
Yeah, it appears to be that way. I mean, we're going to find out more and more as they play the preseason. Also, they have the joint practice coming up in Foxborough against the Patriots. That'll be interesting in and of itself, right? But it does appear that way. And I think basically it just goes back to last season. And, I don't know if you remember me saying this or mentioning this, maybe I did on, one of your previous episodes, that when Tanner McKee played, I think it was late last year, was that against Washington, I believe?
Yes, he did.
That was, to me, the great experiment. Okay, that was a great experiment between Tanner McKee. He may not even have known about it himself, but that's usually how experiments work anyway, because the subject is unaware exactly what's happening to them or with them. Tanner McKee, Kevin Patullo, and also Nick Sirianni, because we all know how dysfunctional that offense was last year. And when people, and there was a lot of propaganda surrounding this too. So when, Jalen was hurt, they brought in Tanner McKee, the de facto, second string quarterback, or as you said, maybe he could run this offense better than Jalen Hurts, which I knew was BS. But when he went in there and, was mediocre at best, and then he ended up turning the ball over, right? Can't have that, right? You don't do anything else, you can't turn the ball over. And then what struck me was he admitted after the game, McKee did, that he was kind of improvising or going off script, and, which caused one of the turnovers. You can't have that either. I mean, think about how that was critiqued with Jalen a couple years ago when he, everybody accused both
in the Seahawks game.
Brown, both 2023, both accused both he and AJ Brown of, going off script, improvising, going rogue, as it was written about and talked about, right? So I think that's where they said, Tanner McKee maybe is not as good, and it was a game that they needed and probably cost them the number two, at least the number 2 seed.
Absolutely.
So, and a lot of people are forgetting that, and they have a lot of amnesia when it comes to that. And there's a couple other things happen where they ended up being a wild card team. What were they, the 3rd or 4th seed, I believe? But anyway, I think that's where it started. And then when this offseason, when Andy Dalton was signed, it's like, that is interesting. And people may have thought that, okay, is this, what's behind this? Is this for Jalen Hurts? Is this for Tanner McKee? But then, as we saw mini camp, as we saw OTAs, and now as we're seeing in preseason, that Andy Dalton seems to be the guy who is actually right behind Jalen Hurts. And also, you take into account that Tanner McKee is in the last year of his contract. Are they looking to trade? Do they sign Dalton because they're looking to trade Tanner McKee, or they just don't like him as much as they did in the past? So, it looks like it's going to be the red rifle that's backing up Jalen Hurts. Unless we're proven otherwise.
It's interesting though. Camp reports are showing, the Red Rifles, a 22. He used to be, the double gauge shot, 12 gauge shotgun. That's not what he's got anymore. He's the little
he's certainly
BB gun.
He's certainly a 22 at best. That's for sure. But obviously, they may tend to trust him.
The water gun, but he knows what he's doing.
Yeah, exactly. Not to say that he won't turn the ball over, because he's done a lot of that in his career.
Yes,
but I go back to essentially saying, and I'm steadfast with this, and my position hasn't changed. If you're down, in unless it's very rare circumstances, Matt, if you're down your starting quarterback, you're all but cooked anyway. Nick Foles ain't walking through that. Nick Foles ain't walking through that door.
So if you're down bad, you feel better just knowing what you're going to get from Andy. If you're Sean Mannion, I'm gonna put it to you, if you're Sean Mannion, who are you taking? The guy who gets the offense, or the guy potentially? We would say go ahead.
I guess it goes back to the old cliche. He knows the offense. He knows the NFL. He's a seasoned veteran or seasoned senior citizen quarterback now, for lack of a better term. And the assumption is that, okay, he's not going to turn the ball over, or maybe he's not going to go rogue, right? But again, I think they could do much better at backup quarterback other than both Dalton and McKee. I mean, I've always said that they should have somebody behind Jalen Hurts who is,
like him,
similar in skill set, or I would say maybe a poor man's Jalen Hurts.
Correct.
But maybe some people believe.
Well, they tried that with DTR. Now, should they try to bring DTR back into camp and chalk it up to some poor play calling, or was DTR just that poor from the time you saw?
Probably not. I don't think he showed enough to where they would want to keep him around. And I thought if he did, he'd probably be here in camp or somebody.
Dorian Thompson Robinson, that's right, because I kept throwing around that DTR for folks who aren't, Eagles camp.
Dorian Thompson Robinson,
enthusiast, yes.
Played at UCLA, I believe. Played a little bit with the Browns. So, I believe if they really liked him, he'd probably be in camp again this year.
But I heard on a famous radio station in Philadelphia that the Eagles had drafted Cole Payton to take Jalen Hurts' spot. I thought that was the route that they were taking.
Well, yeah, there you go. You're right about that. And it's funny that you bring him up, because we have not heard much about him this. So sounds like somebody that, is he even going to make this roster?
Because Taysom Hill didn't Taysom Hill just get released? Now, if I'm going to go for something like that, I'm going to go ahead and get the real deal.
Yeah. But I mean, you talk about Taysom Hill. I mean, he's no longer Ferrari. He has a lot of wear and tear too, and he's not a spring chicken anymore. I mean,
no.
Can you rev up the Charger with that guy?
I don't think so. But
yeah. So, but it's funny that I haven't heard a peep about Cole Payton. And again, if you don't hear anything about it, people were so high and people were trying to, angle Payton as if, okay, well, Jalen Hurts, he's in last year of guaranteed money. Who knows what's going to happen with Andy Dalton? Obviously, they don't like Tanner McKee as much. Can Payton be in there and kind of, work his way into the depth chart. But it doesn't seem like that's going to happen because, again, all the reports, and I haven't even been there yet. I will try to be there next week because I've been caught up in other things, Sixers, Jaylen Brown, and LeBron, and all those things. But yeah, you haven't heard of Pete. Even the people that I trust, it's been nothing about Cole Payton. So the whole quarterback depth chart beyond Hurts, of course, is interesting. So
I thought it'd be easy. I thought you hear some people tell it, hey, you throw anybody behind this Eagles offensive line in this system, and they're just going to cook. They're just going to be one of the top 10 rushing quarterbacks in the history of football. The way you hear some of these idiots talk about it.
It's propaganda, man. And, people try to make that claim. And, I can't even continue the conversation with people who, try to start that type of nonsense.
That's right. So, somebody who's actually has been talked about a lot, unlike our guy Cole Payton. We'll see if he makes the team. But Darius Cooper at wide receiver has been standing out. You think he edges out Johnny Wilson? Because really they're competing for one spot. You got Devontae Smith, Mekhi Lemon, Hollywood Brown, and then you've got Dontavian Wicks. They're not going to keep six receivers. I don't see them keeping six receivers.
And then you had the other kid who played with AJ at Ole Miss. Oh gosh.
Elijah Moore. There you go.
Well, yeah. I mean, this is a good thing. I'm happy that they have a crowded wide receiver room.
It's a great problem to have.
Somebody's going to be the odd man out. But I would, if I had to put my money on it, I would say it's Johnny Wilson. But then I'm told that they do like Johnny Wilson because of, other things that, he could possibly do, special teams, perhaps blocking, all those things. But, you got Wicks, you got Moore, you got Hollywood Brown, of course, Mekhi, who knows what's going to happen with his hamstring injury. Will we even see him during his preseason, or will they, just try
load management?
Yeah, try to bubble wrap him and carry him along to maybe just start the season. But yeah, if it was up to me, Johnny Wilson would be the odd man out. I mean, he's a good kid. They like him there in that building. But I can't see them having six receivers, but I'm glad they have six receivers to choose from, where I would say, the other four. I mean, well, without a doubt that, of course, Devontae, of course, Smitty, of course, Lemon, Wicks, they're all, penciled in, because I'm really high on Wicks. Some people aren't.
Absolutely. He's the number two.
Yeah, I wrote about that last week. Right. He has the size, he has the strength, he has the ability. And I think he's probably going to be your go-to guy from a wideout standpoint in the red zone.
Guys, anybody who plays fantasy football, because y'all aren't going to be playing me, and if you do, fine. You're going to get great value on Dontavian Wicks. You're not going to have to reach for him until the 4th, 5th round, unless people start going crazy. This guy, I could seriously see him challenging for 900 yards, 1,000 yards. I don't want to, because 1,000 yards is, especially in the Eagles offense, we'll be doing a lot of dink and dunk, but I could see a lot of touchdowns, 8-10 touchdowns, something like that. It could happen.
Yeah. I don't know what he's going to give you yards wise, but I think would be a good possession receiver. I think Devontae Smith now becomes the absolute deep threat and continues to be more of a deep threat. I don't know how many yards that Wicks will get, but I'm with you as far as the touchdowns, where I would think he'll get at least a half a dozen, if not more.
Especially getting gravity going to Dallas Goedert. They're not trying to let Dallas Goedert lead the league in tight end touchdowns again. They're going to slide to Dallas Goedert in the red zone.
I mean, it could be, because that's all on Jalen. Like, where does he like to throw the ball? He loves throwing the ball to Dallas Goedert in the red zone. So, I mean, unless that's some type of directive, um, I don't really see that changing because, I mean, Goddard, when he's healthy, of course, and he was healthy I think for the most part last year. I mean, he's money in the red zone,
Yeah.
especially when they have those little what's those little routes that they run, or little shovel passes, and then
Yes.
he gets free and gets in the end zone. So, I mean, why would you go against it? And then we heard Mannion this weekend speak, and he talked about, hey, the tush push is, they're not going away from it. So that's going to be another aspect to the offense. And what is the personnel when they do the tush push? Because remember, that was AJ Brown on one side, and he admitted saying, "Okay, well, I just have to look busy on that play." So is that
Yeah.
going to be Wicks now? Is that going to be, um, whoever else it may be? So, but yeah, just to go back to your original question, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Johnny Wilson is the odd man out at this point.
Yeah. Yeah. And Elijah Moore as well. But who knows? They maybe they'll construct this roster in a way that they can keep 6 wide receivers.
That's a
I don't know.
possibility. Unprecedented on their part, but it's a possibility.
Absolutely. Today, I was already going to ask you this, but some news happened today that really brings us to the forefront, OJ. This next thing I was going to ask you about, which is the Eagles' offensive line depth is really not where it should be. You're seeing a lot of Markel Bell. I mean, not saying he's a bad player, but these aren't, if one of these guys go down, Eagles could be in trouble. And then you hear today Lane Johnson coming out and saying, yeah, guys, this is the end. This is probably my last season. I mean, do you think that Howie somehow is going to have a trick up his sleeve to try to, get a Mekhi Becton type of move, somebody who maybe be a reclamation project and then get them to back up? I mean, what are you seeing as the path here?
Yeah, that's a possibility, Matt. I wouldn't be surprised if Howie went up on the either the waiver wire or see who's hanging around via free agency. And I believe Becton is still unsigned. Is that correct?
I
But
believe so, Wes.
I will say, well, let's start with Lane Johnson. Going back a couple years, I remember being in one of his press conferences, actually last press conference that he had before they left for New Orleans for Super Bowl 59. And, we were asking him how he felt, and he was, suffering injuries then. And he said, he felt great. And he said, he felt that he could play at least another year. So, but him coming back from, his personal matters and, all the best to he and his family. Him saying that, yeah, this will probably be it for me. It doesn't surprise me at all because, he was talking a couple years ago that he may just have, a year or two left. And it makes sense that, of course, he was going to come back for this year because of how last year ended. He wasn't able to finish out the season and play and have the end result. And we all know what the record is when Lane Johnson is not under center. I mean, not under center, but not on not
the line, right tackle. Yeah.
When they're not playing, and everybody goes to dissect the San Francisco game. I mean, it could probably be as simple as he didn't play, so they lost. But they do like Markel Bell. They're very high on him. He's huge. Probably one of the biggest guys they've had since Becton. Well, I mean, of course, Mulata's huge too. But Markel Bell kind of reminds me of going back, and I'm not saying that he's going to be this player. Hopefully, he's not. But from a size standpoint, he reminds me a lot of King Dunlap. That's how size he is. But Bell is much more.
Wow, we reached in the bag for King Dunlap. That was a big dude.
Listen, I remember the last year when they were training at Lehigh, and listen, you're out there and the dead of summer with the sun. If you could get close to you get really close to the players back there. If you get close to King Dunlap, he was going to block the front for you for sure. But Marco Bell out of Miami, he's another, I think, dark horse with this team. If they can get him going, and Eagles players are very high on Chris Cooper, the new offensive line coach. But if they can get Bell going and have him ready to go, if anything goes down with Lane Johnson, or I know you got Fred Johnson as well. He's no longer spring chicken either. How long can you keep plugging him in to be a backup? But they do like Bell. But overall, I agree with you that the depth in the offensive line is a bit concerning.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's and I checked. Mekhi Becton is still a free agent, and it sounds as though the team is high on the brother Drew Kendall. People, they're high on Drew Kendall.
Yeah, Kendall's another factor too.
Yeah.
But sometimes you just like to have a guy back there who's more of a veteran, or someone who has had who has been in combat more often than not. So
absolutely,
we'll see. They are high on, like I said, Bell, and as you mentioned, Kendall. But we'll see if they'll get some more more of a veteran presence behind that line.
Absolutely. It's going to need to happen. So for those of you who checked out, came across the title screen for this show, this is what you came for. And for the people who are Philly sports fans, we will certainly get back to Philly sports and the Phillies specifically later. But OJ and I have been talking about, we wanted to cover some stuff, especially a couple of lapses in journalistic ethics. So our resident journalist, OJ, see, I'm just an analyst and just an opinion guy. There's a difference, and journalism should speak. So let's start with the story regarding our buddy Kyle Shanahan, and then we'll make our way back to Philly sports through Diana Russini. So, OJ, give people a quick primer on what happened, and then what the hell do you think that he's thinking? Because we were talking about before the show, Mr. Shanahan, the new comments from him. They'll be a little older, but they were pretty recent to when we taped this episode. So, OJ, let's just get into that.
Well, for those who don't know, San Francisco 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan, he was in an accident about a month ago. And supposedly what the initial reports was as he got into an accident, and the other person, it was a head-on collision, and the other person allegedly ran into him. But after further review or further investigation, if you will, it turns out that
any investigation upon any investigation whatsoever,
I stand corrected, that Shanny may have been at fault, taking his eye off the wheel, reaching for his, and this is all alleged, but he's saying this, so we're kind of paraphrasing him now, because he ended up admitting it, because when certain reporters like Florio and guys like that were questioning his story.
We'll come back to Sims, because Sims is
exactly.
Yeah, we gotta get back to Sims,
because he's the wild card in this, right? But after the story didn't sound straight, Shanahan brought in 49er reporters and said that, hey, well, here's what really happened. The young lady who was in the other car, was part of the collision, apparently was getting some heat and perhaps getting harassed for allegedly hitting Kyle Shanahan. So The coach called everybody in his office one day and said that, hey, um, she didn't ram into me. It was me. I reached for the cell phone. Um, and there you have it. And mind you, this is still after 2 weeks after the accident happened. No police report. It wasn't reported at all, actually. So, and it became more obvious that, of course, the 49ers knew. They're always going to know because nobody's Dom DeSandro. If we bring it back to Philly, nobody's big Dom DeSandro. Nobody works like him, so to speak. But everybody has, a Dom somewhere in their organization, right? Whether he's in a suit or whether he's in sweats in the baseball game. But it was a crazy story because nobody knew about it until it came out 2 weeks later, and it's like, hey, we would like to think that a head coach of an NFL team, and mind, let's take him being out an NFL head coach. I mean, that just exacerbates the situation. But let's take him out being a head coach. Let's simplify it as much as we can as it being a car accident. Okay. And if you live life, every now and then you're sometime in your life, hopefully you don't, but sometime in your life you're either going to have either a
mistakes happen,
a fender bender, or God forbid, an actual accident, or at the very least you may witness one, right? So knowing that information, you can either be a witness or you're either one of the parties, or unless you just wrecked your car yourself and it's a single car accident. There's going to be a police report. There's going to be, things involved, perhaps an ambulance, which nobody else is talking about. I know that's, when you talk about medical things, you get into HIPAA laws. But there's no photos. There's no video footage. And you would think nowadays everybody has a camera, or every building or something like that, unless he was just
a flock camera.
Yeah, or off in the valley somewhere. But there's cameras everywhere.
Come on.
And it's a car accident, so it essentially becomes public information. And then you bring in the local police department. I think it was the Palo Alto Police Department. And what was their role in this? Understanding that now that you have the head coach of an NFL team, 49ers, one of the most popular teams in the world. And what was their role? And first of all, they put in a police report, false.
That the other party was at fault,
right? And then
it was a clerical error that the other party was at fault.
Clerical error that the other party was fault. How does that even happen in any type of police department? And how is that to where you're still competent and you're able to keep your job? So it's so many red flags here. And then this weekend, he talks to reporters, and he claims that, well, it's a Tesla. So that brings another famous person into play. But
they record. I mean, there's recorded footage that comes along with.
Supposed to be a black box, right? The so-called black box that you have on every vehicle.
That's what I heard. I don't have one.
Well, supposedly Tesla has a black box. My understanding. But he claims that, well, he's not sure. He's not sure now. And it already came out. He admitted that he reached for a cell phone, but then he's not sure whether he mentions autopilot, and then when he reached for a cell phone, he's not sure whether he took his eye off the wheel, or the autopilot malfunctioned.
It's and this is what gets me, because all of the headlines, everything you see with this is like, oh, he took responsibility for it. This doesn't sound like,
did he or didn't he?
So this is what got us on this conversation, because, and this is what pisses off a lot of players, because when a lot of stuff gets out here, you hear these players are saying, hey, whenever these stories are coming out, there's a reason. There's a reason that they want somebody to get screwed over, or they want somebody to look good. So this is one of these things. If it was a player, they would have raked his ass over the coals, like Nolan Smith, Lamar Jackson, Brandon Ayuk. These just videos, which are stupid, you get raked over the coals.
Maybe even Brock Purdy, who knows? But yeah, if it was a player, Matt, absolutely. I mean, you would not have heard the end of it, and he would have been cited. Reckless driving, perhaps it would have even been speculation at the very least. Was he under the influence? All those things. We know how it is with players when they just get a speeding ticket, and it's all over the news. We saw that with Eagles edge rusher Nolan Smith. Yes, and he needs to apologize. I mean, look at Jalen Carter, to where people were trying to make a claim that because he was drag racing while he was still technically at Georgia, that he did not deserve a contract extension. Because people were trying to say, oh yeah, off the field issues. Well, what are the off the field issues that Jalen Carter has committed since he's been a Philadelphia Eagle? And his biggest claim to fame was spitting on Dak Prescott,
which was very annoying.
Right. But that's not enough to keep him from a contract extension. But yeah, it's just so many holes in the story, and we're getting to the point of, okay, what is journalism at this point? It's very disappointing, because someone who has been a journalist for several years, we are taught, Matt, to get the story no matter what, no matter who it is. You get the story, whether it's a player, whether it's a coach.
This is where Chris Sims enters the discussion, because he's playing the role of friend and the role of journalist, which
close friend.
Unfortunately incompatible. You cannot be a close friend of the subject of your reporting. You need to, in law, you need to deconflict. You need to recuse yourself from this. You need to have somebody else at your outfit do the
of journalism.
Yes, yes.
But then he plays the card. He plays the card that, oh, I'm not a journalist. I'm just a former player. I'm an analyst. I'm not a journalist. Okay. So he plays that card. And then, and this is another thing that we had talked about off here. We actually talked about this, I think, last week or a week or two ago.
Yes.
If I'm Mike Florio, former lawyer, who I guess he's a journalist. Well, I don't even know if you call him a journalist. I call him the TMZ of the NFL.
Yeah, it's more of it. Yeah.
But if I'm Florio, I'm pissed the hell off, man. I'm pissed the hell off because Sims admitted on their show, what was that, 2 weeks ago, that he knew about the accident, and he was just sitting, hands and knees and just rocking back, back and forth. And says, okay, when are they going to report this so I don't have to report it?
Yep. And
it came out 2 weeks later, but he knew the whole time because he's close friends with Shanahan. He knew the accident. He knew everything.
And I don't get. And if I'm Florio, I don't give a damn what title you want to parade out here. If you have me on the air talking about a subject and I'm believing and holding out to my audience that you're giving them the truth on it, then just let me do the segment on my own. Don't mislead my viewers. Don't try to do a sort of like a political tease and like, drip drip drip
Exactly.
till it's convenient for Shanahan. And then as soon as the first thing we hear from Shanahan is, oh, he took responsibility. What?
Yeah, it's so messed up, man. And then, you're my, if I'm Florida, like you're my pod partner. Like I work with you every day, and we produce this, we host this show together.
Or just tell me like, hey, this is the deal. Maybe we don't want to talk about this, or just so you're aware,
Off record.
I'll give you the boom, boom, boom. Yeah, off record. This is what's going on. I'm not going to appear on the segment. I'll let you cover it. Or if we cover it, we're going to carry it in a very terse way.
As you
so
said,
I don't leave you out there. Yes.
Right. Recruit. Yeah, exactly. It would be like, okay, if I reported like one of my colleagues, and you write the story and it says, okay, well, I am a employee or I am a freelancer or whatever with this company. So
yes.
that admits the possible conflict of interest. And
right.
you're at least trying to admit that you're still trying to be neutral.
Yes.
And that brings it all into like the Russini thing. But
absolutely,
I'm Oreo, I'm pissed the hell off. I'm like, dude, I said, this is what I do. This is what we do. You're gonna keep this.
You're making me lose credibility. I mean, Florio's a lawyer, so I doubt that there's going to be any kind of lawsuit or any kind of real drama. But he has been damaged by Chris Sims doing this. He has been damaged in this information and attention economy that we have now. People are less likely to feel like when Sims is on or somebody else is on that they're getting really what they know is the truth.
Absolutely. There's the public is already cynical with media, with journalism as a whole, sports journalism as well. So Sims is totally compromised. He's completely compromised. And then, we go back to what he said about, certain players, this, that, and not. Primarily, he's made no bones about him not being a fan of Jalen Hurts. I mean, you can't take what he says seriously. I mean, you almost laugh at it now. I mean, I not that I took him seriously before because I thought he was, whatever. But yeah, I mean, he has compromised that whole conglomerate.
Absolutely.
Football talk, and to a degree, NBC. I mean, I don't know with the changes that they made. I know Dungy's not there now. I don't know if Sims is. I don't think Sims is on the broadcast anymore. The Football Night in America. Thankfully, I'm glad Tomlin's there. He's going to do great. He's a natural.
He is.
Yeah, but I mean, you're really going to put like if you have a talk show, no matter what the market or no matter what the city, you have a talk show. You're really going to put with straight face. Really going to put Chris Sims on your show.
He's just a mouthpiece for Kyle. Now he will cover up potential, and I'm going to say potential.
God knows how many others.
But and this is where I'm going to bring it back to what I said earlier. This is where players get pissed off though, because they have things that aren't even criminal in nature potentially at all. And they get raked over the coals. You want to tell players, get in before 10. And then Mike Vrabel and Diana Russini want to do whatever the hell they want to do. They're adults.
Yeah.
They're adults, but it's an uneven playing field.
Married to the people, adults.
Correct. And they lied. Like this man, and I bring it back to football because this is a football story because Vrabel stood in front of a podium, an NFL podium, and told people that there was nothing to it.
It was laughable. Quote, it was laughable.
Come on now.
Nothing to see here. I mean, if I sit on the air mat or if I wrote in my stories exactly what my friends were telling me after they saw those photos, and
Yes.
people were really. Someone said, and I'm not even gonna say it, but said like those aren't just locking hands; those are making love locking hands.
Come on. I mean, she was pretty much in his
They
lap
didn't
at that
say,
bar.
and my friends didn't say making love, so to just kind of give you an
No,
idea.
because that's not. Come on now. And we're way past alleged now. When you get busted, when you say it's laughable, then you get busted. We get past the area of alleged. This is not an alleged affair. And again,
And
it
that's
plays into a story. It's a football story because this lady is crafting narratives that people believe. It doesn't need to be true what she's saying. If
right,
what
and that's
GMs and
the
everybody
problem.
believes,
That's
the
the problem.
market
It does not need to be
believes,
true.
yes, it
Yes.
doesn't need to be true.
And then people how far are we connecting? People were connecting the dots going back about 5 years, I believe.
Correct.
Even when she was working for another company.
I mean, when he was fired, she's out there doing PR for him, talking about
And that's
maybe
another
he's not getting a job because he's too big. Guys, I'm not making this up. Go back and listen.
Right.
Go fact check it. Go ask Gemini. Go ask ChatGPT. I mean, go back and watch these interviews. The stuff is highly, highly inappropriate. And there's a reason that she's not going to be back on anybody's airwaves except for just as an opinion columnist. Now, she really leans into the fact that she lied.
Mm-hmm.
She lied and she has to lean into it. She could still make a career of this thing, but she's not going to be on anybody's airwaves because she has incinerated and she almost tried to take down the Athletic because they stood with her.
Yeah. Without doing they trusted her. They trusted her without doing their own investigation. But that also gives you an idea of how big white privilege is as well. Because if you just look at someone else, right? And I don't want to bring up names. But just think if that was a black woman carrying on like that. Think if that was a black coach carrying on like that. And I always said, like, okay, if that was another Mike who just retired or who just walked away from coaching, if that was him, I mean, his name would have been smeared all up and down the tabloids, everything. All right. And again, if it was a black woman reporter or insider and all, I mean, she would have been, I mean, not to mention, I mean, some people have called, Russini different names and all. But I mean, it would have been far, far worse. Far, far worse. I mean, you just give an idea of how women are treated, how black women are treated in the WNBA. And you just only imagine a woman reporter, a black woman reporter, as well. And yeah, it's and then you tie that to the AJ Brown trade rumors and all those things. It was all orchestrated, and she was facilitating those things through Mike Vrabel, and it does lead us to believe that it may have been what part did AJ Brown play in it? I mean, we can only speculate because it was so questionable and it lacked so much integrity. And like you said, they lied. They certainly lied. I mean, hell, I mean, first day of training camp, or I think first day of Patriots practice for camp. I mean, he brings in his dog as a distraction. And I think
it's just pathetic.
Yeah, and I think back to Sirianni when he brought his kids after a victory, right? He didn't do anything like that, and um, you know, reporters what the federal charges against Sirianni for just bringing his kids after a win. I mean, I get it. I mean, yeah, it is
Rico.
it is Rico charge exactly. I mean, it is a distraction, when you bring others in and everything. I mean, that's not to say that I wouldn't do it. as a coach or anything. But um, yeah, man, I mean, it really puts journalists, and I'm not saying I'm perfect or anything like that. Uh,
No,
and
nobody's perfect.
nobody is. Nobody's perfect, and nobody's fully objective. And whoever says that they are, they're lying because human nature does not allow for um, a person to be 100% objective. Maybe
But
you're
this
trained.
is so far over the line. This is not
Yeah,
even near the line in any way. And then when they were caught, they straight up lied.
yeah,
They could have said that in alternate universe, they could have said, "Hey, this is highly uncomfortable. We would rather not discuss these personal details. However, our spouses are well aware of the nature of our friendship, and we would like this to remain a personal matter." The people could have run with whatever they wanted to
yeah.
say with that, but at
Well,
least with that statement, you're not lying.
right. And for me, from both of our standpoints, from a PR standpoint, and we're both, um, at least trained or have
Yes,
practiced with it at
yes,
some point in time.
absolutely,
I mean,
absolutely,
the PR was even worse.
correct, correct. Because when you do when you do an outright denial, that gives people a target to shoot at. Now I'm just trying to pierce your statement. I don't
Yeah,
care whether in piercing your statement I prove you did anything actually wrong. You've set up this target that said that it's laughable. The target was such a straw man to say that it would be laughable
complete
that
error.
he
Well,
that they would be on a roof. They said that there were other people there, and then they were completely unable to prove that. I don't care. Like, I'm not the
with our
relationship
friends, yeah,
police. I
yeah.
My thing is, this is clearly allows for improper influence into this whole process. And it did
And,
amount in
and
Mike
friends
Vrabel getting the
friends
exact
wouldn't have,
player he wanted, by
and
the
even
way.
if they had friends there, they would need better friends after that.
Come on.
Let's even take it back to just as civilians, all right?
Yes.
Um, you and me, right?
Yes.
If photos came out about me doing this with some other woman or you doing this with some
Yes.
other woman, and
Yes.
those came out, and you just imagine, that's on average, just your average citizen having to explain that. I mean, what are your first thoughts going to be? But because Vrabel is in this position, because Russini is in this position, she's reporting. You're getting a scoop. You're getting an exclusive.
Yes. Yes.
you know, how are we, you or I, how are we supposed to explain that to our spouses or significant others if we were out doing God knows what with some other woman?
See, the thing
On
is they
purpose.
went to they see that's what I was saying earlier in the PR management of this thing. They didn't need to prove to us that they weren't having an affair. They need to prove that. She needed to prove that to the Shake Shack man, and Vrabel needed to prove that to his spouse. But all they needed to say to us was this was a personal matter, and they were going to comment no more. They didn't need to try to gaslight us. But once you start trying to gaslight people, you piss people off, and of
Yeah.
course they were going to find out what really was going on.
And then you get to the
And
point
I'm
where
not sure that the story is really over. We might get more right before the season starts. I'm not sure it's over.
trust me, I'm not in the gossip and everything, but because of how this went down, I'm ready for it all. Because yeah, I am not convinced that there's not more content, right? So, and then like,
and people can say, "Oh, the story's over." People are gonna eat this up. You drop this August 25th or something like that. People will eat this up.
the the, the Friday before opening day,
Yes, yes,
the
or a
Friday,
whole week before.
yeah.
Yes,
Well, yeah, you do it. That would be perfect. You do it the whole week before. That way, Mike Vrabel would be forced to, make a decision whether he wants to speak or not. Yeah, so that would be perfect. But yeah, man, I mean, it just it just explains how, and I tell my readers and people who follow me and everything, I tell you, I encourage them to be your own, um use your discernment as far
Right.
as, even if you're reading my content, use your discernment. We're at a point in journalism to where, I mean, trust, it's a lack of, it's mistrust, it's a lack of trust, and really we're at a point to where, um, things that are being reported, you really have to think twice. You really have to think, three times, and if not more. It's like, okay, is this credible? Where's this coming from? And even people who are the most trusted. I mean, it's just so up in the air now, and it's so compromised. And another case in point too is to where, like, you have insiders, such as Adam Schefter, where, I mean, he's invested in sports betting companies, and you have an NFL insider who is getting information, um, and how much does that influence,
How how lines are being set and all that
exactly.
kind of stuff.
And you tie that to Russini as well, as far as, okay, is AJ Brown going to get traded this week, or is he going to get traded at the deadline? Okay, how does that set the lines? How does that set the numbers? That's one thing that Mike Florio was referring to. I mean, he was more worried about that than he was Chris Sims holding that information for him for 2 weeks. He was worried about, what are the Shanahan.
He was on the Russini track. He certainly did some investigative, or at least wanted to report on the investigative journalism that was going down on that. On the Shanahan thing, he's just let it go.
Yeah, just kind of let it go. And I'm like, okay, y'all going to sit here and broadcast like that? Your bull just did that to you, and you're just going to sit there and act like it didn't happen? I mean, in this day and age, Matt, had they argued about that on air, that would have made Boku ratings. The ratings would have been through the roof. People would have watched the show for the rest of the week.
And it is horse shit for Sims to have withheld that from Florio. Right. That's terrible.
I wouldn't be able to trust him as far as I could see him.
Correct. You got me on air talking about it. You're leaving me with cliffhangers. Come on, man.
Knew about for damn near 2 weeks. But then, again, journalism is so compromised now. And it's like, I almost feel like an oddball. And like I said, I'm not to single myself out, but I'm sure there's a lot of others who feel that way, who try to do our job in good faith, and just try to bring people, as I like to say, truth to power. And again, as I had explained to you before, I'm not trying to take down a politician for taking a bribe, because of sports. But still, I still try to just kind of bring the truth, and I have a couple sources here and there, and I like to think that they're trusted sources, and they're not compromised. Yeah. I mean, I know that, well, one I know in particular isn't, but we're really at this point that, okay, what can you really believe? I mean, you certainly can't believe anything you hear on sports talk radio. But when it gets to like these insiders, even print journalists, digital journalists, we're at that point to where most of it is propaganda, and you can't be trusted because you're either invested in the people themselves, or they're invested in the business. I mean, that's fine if you do, go get yours, but don't tell me that you're some trusted insider, or you're some trusted analyst or journalist, because it's just not true. And you can't buy that, nor fans should buy that. And one last thing I want to mention, going back to Russini and Vrabel, is how many journalists were quiet about that, right? And even Florio to an extent, but overall, how many journalists were quiet about that? It's like, okay,
especially on ESPN.
Well, what you into? Even were you doing similar stuff too, to where you're staying quiet, or other people know your dirt and say, okay, if I snitch, then people are going to snitch on me.
That's what it is. Come on.
So
And we know humans. We know
yeah,
what humans do when
right.
they think nobody's looking. They try to get their thing on. So
Yeah. So
that's
but I digress.
yeah, we could go on that could be another 2-hour episode.
It's totally fine. Yeah. I'm glad. I'm
uh,
glad you gave me the opportunity to sound off.
oh man, people are gonna love that, OJ. I
Thank
already
you.
know it.
I appreciate
So the arrival of Luis Arraez has jump started the Phillies offense. I gotta say, I put on an opinion on day one before he had even taken it at bat. That is just has so far been just dead ass wrong. So I just gotta own that, take that. With that said, and I'm not saying this, the question I'm asking is not trying to, be a Debbie Downer or try to, still manufacture some kind of right outcome for me. If I'm wrong, I'm happy to be wrong. I'm full disclosure. I'm not a journalist. I am a Philadelphia sports fan. I am a fan of the team. And if I'm wrong, that means that Arias is cooking and he's driving in runs. But is this a sugar high, or is this what could be expected from this guy? Because he knows how to put the bat on the ball.
I think it's something. Well, a sugar high, I would say, is mild. I'm not going to say it's some type of some type of other high, but I would say it's
Yes.
somewhere in the middle.
Okay.
Okay,
so it's real. So
yeah,
it's real.
it's
Okay.
it's real. Because you saw the other night, I think it was against the Nationals, where and you'll have this in baseball because baseball is just so weird. Someone who's played, coached, even umpire.
Yes.
It's so weird. But you saw the other night where just about everybody in the lineup got a hit. And it's also weird to where they have
But
him.
that was the night where they had 8 doubles or something. 7
Yeah,
or 8
exactly.
doubles.
I think they set a team record, club record.
Woo.
But I think because Arise is such a contact hitter, and he is so contrary to how the game is played.
Correct.
In this day and age. I mean, hitters like Arise, I mean, they've tried to phase them out of Major League Baseball, and that's why he's been with a number of teams within 5 years. Like, I guess it's fifth franchise in 5 years or something like that. But it's no mistake how he is working on his 4th batting title.
Yeah.
And I do think with him being in that lineup that all these guys, and if they're patient, it still goes down to patience, right?
Yeah.
If these guys are patient, they're going to see better pitches. And I already see that Bryce Harper is getting better pitches. I already see that Trey Turner is getting better pitches. I even see an improvement just by him being on the team and being another lefty bat. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm not Carl. I always call him Carl. But Justin. I already see a difference in Justin Crawford's approach. And if he can be half of what Luis Arraez is at the plate, if he could be half of that, I mean, Justin's going to be in this league for a good 10 years, if not more.
Yes.
But you already see the difference. I mean, they're going to have their lows because they are the Phillies. It's still the same type of guys, old habits, die hard.
Feast or famine.
But I mean, he's an old-fashioned hitter, man, and
he's not a feast or famine guy, though.
No.
Even on those low days, he just puts the bat on the ball.
Exactly. I mean, he struck out the other day. He struck out.
He got like 20 strikeouts all season.
Yeah, like 23, 24 strikeouts all season. I mean, Schwarber might have.
That's a month. That's a month for Harper or Schwarber.
Yeah, I think John Cook said that the other day on the local broadcast. But yeah, Schwarber is like closing in on 200. And I think he's still leading the league.
Ridiculous.
But
Hit McKee rally.
Yeah, it's going to make a difference. We'll just see if it's not too little, too late. Because again, old high habits die hard. But I'm more so dissecting every at bat, and I see the difference at least. And if I'm the Phillies, no matter where they go, I would resign Luis Arraez. I mean, I know that's probably not going to happen pending the lockout, that nobody's really going to get re-signed. But I mean, I wouldn't let him out. Depending on where they end up, I wouldn't let him out of the building because he's just at the very least automatic protection for Bryce Harper.
It's a big deal. Speaking of Bryce Harper, I don't love now from a fielding perspective. I don't love him out in the outfield.
I don't either.
He's just crossed over into 30. He's reckless. You're gonna try to whip something and throw somebody out from the center field, from the right field wall. I just don't see it. So I guess you don't think I'm reaching. You agree?
No, I don't think you're reaching at all. And if not anything else, I would be concerned about his health and his elbow.
That's what
I mean, you do have to run, especially with balls that go into the gap. You know, you got to run to that foul line and that wall, which isn't a lot of room out there. But I'm most concerned about, okay, how is his elbow going to hold up? Because he's had problems,
yes,
have had problems with his elbow in the past. Still wears a protective sleeve.
Whacked on a number of times.
Yeah, exactly. And, you know, you have a lot more torque throwing from right field as you do first base. A lot more. I mean, we're talking about, you know, throwing on average 200 feet as opposed to 90 feet. So
if that, I mean, the first baseman generally goes 2-3 innings a lot of times and doesn't make a throw, right?
Doesn't even make a throw unless it's a put out. Yeah, and you're just tossing it, you know, to your teammate.
A little underhand, you know, a little dribbler, and you toss it to the pitcher, or something like that.
It's just, you know, throwing it around after you make the put out.
That's right. Yeah, that's the extent of the throwing.
Yeah, for the most part, right. So yeah, you're not going to throw it as much as you know, your third baseman or your shortstop. So yeah, I mean, it's unorthodox, but you know, this team they'll never be a good defensive team. I don't care where you put Harper. I don't care where you put Turner. People want to put Turner in center field. Like, well, where the hell are you going to put Crawford now? Right. And Crawford is improving way too much to still not let him play every day. And people want to get rid of Bohm. I don't think anybody wants Bohm. I think
nobody wants Bohm. They've tried to get rid of Bohm
right out and just be a free agent and just
that's the only way this is gonna go, guys. The Phillies have certainly tried. If you read between the lines, folks, you can tell that the Phillies have tried to do this a couple times, and they're not getting
it is what it
get off of them.
Right. It is what it is. And, you know, it's a lot harder to trade someone when you want to trade.
Correct.
When
you put your stuff out in your driveway with a yard sale tag on it, you don't get to dictate the price. You put that tag on there. It says $10. That person says, "Hey, I got 8 on it." What you say?
Yeah.
Or they say, "I got 7."
Negotiable, right? Right. You know. You can't say final sale until you actually make the sale.
Come on. So that's what's going on with Alec Bohm. They're not going to get adequate value. And what is adequate value for Alec Bohm at this point, to be honest?
Yeah, that's water under a bridge. But going back to my original point, they're never going to be a good defensive team. But they had to sacrifice getting someone like Arraez in that lineup. You had to sacrifice because, again, this team is built to slug. Is built to not necessarily hit, they're built to slug, but now can they become a better hitting team just because Arraez is in that lineup? And it's just a matter of whether they can rally around him and learn from him.
Yep. Well, people have sounded more impressed or hopeful about the performances of Aaron Nola and Andrew Painter. Is it going to be enough to make sure that they don't slip more? Because they can't. I think that the division, unless the Braves flat out fall on their faces as the day started today, they were 8.5 out. They're not winning the division.
Yeah, they're not going to catch the Braves at this point. They just need to focus on getting that first wild card, because you have having the first wild card is almost like having it's almost like having almost like winning the division. So you don't want to be a third wild card. You don't certainly won't want to be a last. Not that that's not
because you can win a series. You can end up being in that divisional round. You knock out that team, you end up becoming the divisional. You can have a home
division.
Yes.
Correct. So they want to work on that. They're both who's the guys they picked up. I think it was Rayleigh and then the other gentleman that they don't have a good start in that bullpen. But if here's the thing with that fourth starter, Nola's going to be Nola. He's going to be up and down. But if Painter can just give you innings, if he can just get through 5 or 6, and at worst maybe give up 2 runs here and there,
4 runs. I see, but that's okay.
But I'm just trying to be.
Even if you can get through 5 and give up 4, I could take. This team needs to just on those days.
4 is not going to cut it. I would say 2 to 3. 4 is not going to cut it, because if you give up 4, you go through 5 and you give up 4 runs, you're most likely going to be coming from behind. So ideally, 1, can he get through 5 innings? 2, can we get him down to 2 to 3, 2 runs, 3 at the most? And you like to think that as he gets more experience, that perhaps he can get better, but they really don't have an alternatives. And you have to have a 5th starter out there, or else your bullpen's just going to be, you're not going to have a bullpen by the time you get to October. I mean, hell, mid-September. So I would just keep throwing Painter out there. I mean, I know that's not a popular thing to say. He really hasn't earned it, but if he doesn't earn it now, he's never going to earn it. And then let's just say, hey, kid, you're going to be our 5th starter for the rest of the season. You go out there and do your best. Maybe that gives some confidence to do that if he knows he's going to be out there every 5th day. And you just take your licks, because you cannot continue to just have a bullpen session every 5 days, because it's just going to tax your bullpen and you won't have it left. And when you get to the playoffs, you're not going to need a 5th starter, but you do need one for this final stretch of the season. But so I would still just throw Painter out there. I mean, it was so bad, people were calling for Taijuan Walker to come back. But at this point, you ask yourself, is Painter as bad or worse than Taijuan Walker? If you say that he's not, or if you say nobody is bad as Taijuan Walker, you keep running Andrew Painter out there, and you just pray that he can improve.
That's true.
Or at least be serviceable.
When you put it that way, OJ,
a quality start. That's all you can ask for at the point. A quality start.
Taijuan Walker is a disaster waiting to happen, just like Alvarado at this point. Just don't even. I don't want to see Alvarado anymore.
Case in point. I mean, you seeing Alvarado in the 6th inning? Are you serious?
He's a disaster at this point. I mean, life after the juice has hit him hard, man.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And I'm an Alvarado guy, but he has been cutting it. But I mean, there's no way that you should even see him in the 6th inning. That's crazy. But again, that's why I'm going to keep throwing Andrew Painter. I'm going to keep running him out there on a bump and say, son, give me 5 and keep the ball down, keep the damage to a minimum.
3 and 5, 3 is a good night. I mean,
can we make it? What was that? Can you do 2.5 in baseball?
Average, but I just don't see
2 runs and a half. What they call? How do they always do the spread in hockey? A puck and a half.
Yes. That's what it would be. One of those. It'd be like in baseball.
Give me 2 runs and a half. Let me see if I can ride with 2 runs and a half.
So he always has traffic. Whenever he's on the hill, it's a high wire act at this point. Now he'll get better. That's the good thing. I think on this season you've got to just keep running him out there. I think you're right.
Batting practice.
Yeah.
So they gotta keep running Painter out there. They have to. He's healthy. He's an arm. You got to run him out there.
And there is the potential that he becomes who.
Give me 5. Give me 5 in the third, and give me 2.5 runs.
Yeah, hey, I'll take that every day.
They hope that the Phillies are 3-2 or 4-2 by the time Dundada comes to get them.
So speaking of Don Mattingly.
I call him that, by the way, because Preston is his son. He works for his son. So I call him the Don Dada.
So if let's say they miss the playoffs, which is unlikely, but could happen. Say they miss the playoffs, does Don get another chance? If he's saying, I didn't get to construct this roster, I need the full...
No, because they're going to
water, all that.
There's nothing against Don Mattingly. I think he's a good guy, and I think he's done actually a good job of getting his team back up underwater, under over sea level. But it's low ground anyway. But I do think, and all indications is that they're going to much of the fan chagrin, that they're going to re-up Dave Dombrowski as a team president. They're going to go after Cora, Joey Cora from Boston,
or Alex Cora.
Alex Cora, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of his brother, or I think that's his brother or cousin. But yeah, they're going to go all in for Alex Cora. They wanted to give him the job when they got rid of Thompson. He said, "Nah, I'm going to spend time with my family. Take the rest of this year off." I mean, it's really, from all that I've read and what I'm hearing, it's Cora's job if he wants it. Even though Mattingly said that, even though initially he did not want to manage again,
that's what he said.
He kind of likes that itch. But yeah, well, no matter what, anything short of a World Series championship, or maybe even a World Series appearance, they're going to go all in for Cora.
Okay. That's good. A little insight for the listeners. OJ, as always.
Yeah, you literally asked him for the job, to take the job, and yeah.
Well, absolutely, OJ. It's been, as usual, it's been great having you on to talk about a variety of different things. Eagles camp, Kyle Shanahan, Diana Russini, Mike Vrabel, and the Phillies. OJ, it's always great having you on. Listeners, please go like and subscribe. That's how this gets out there. I'm sure if you're hearing this, you enjoyed it, because this is not a short episode. So please go ahead and do that. Go ahead and follow OJ at OJ Philly on all the platforms. Go ahead and subscribe to Philly Tribune, the longest continuously running African-American newspaper in the country. OJ, is there anything you're working on right now that you'd like the people to go read at phillytrib.com?
Sure, Matt. You can just go right to phillytrib.com, and you can see my latest column on Jaylen Brown anchoring himself in Philadelphia. And I know Sixers fans, they're very excited to see how this all plays out with both Jaylen Brown and LeBron James coming to town primarily. So please check that out. Thank you.
Absolutely. Until next time, folks. Peace.
That ball is drilled deep to right field toward the pole. It is gone! Off the pole! What a bat flip! And the Phillies have just tied this game up at 1.
He said it, Johnny. Got him right where he wants him. 0-2.
5th home run of the year. First one in a Phil's uniform.